Without the basic knowledge of Java, C or C++, I can able to learn Python. In Python, I can able to create class and object. So what is class? Class is nothing but the blueprint. So by using Python, I can able to develop desktop application, or I can able to develop web application, even mathematical application and scientific application. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session. I'm your Revati, faculty, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, in my last session, I started with what is Python. Python is example for high-level programming language, and when it came into the picture in the year 1991, and who is the father of Python? That is none other than Guido van Rossum. Along with that, I also covered what can Python do. In the sense, what are the things Python can able to do. Along with that, why I want to select Python, because I have variety of programming language. In that, why specifically I'm going to choose Python, and where I can have Python, which are the field I can have Python. Along with that, I also discussed Python history or history of Python. Okay, fine. In my today's session, I'm going to deal with Python features. What are the features of Python? Why Python is entirely different from other programming language? Okay, fine. So dear student, as we know that Python is popular programming language. Python is used to develop games application, web application, or software application, or it's also used to develop mathematical application or CAD application. See the areas, how it is famous. Okay, fine. And what makes Python programming language is most famous. Okay, in that first one, easy to code. What is easy to code? To learn Python program, I does not require any basic thing. Without the basic knowledge of Java, C or C++, I can able to learn Python, because I does not require any basic requirement here, because Python is simple programming language. It does not include much syntax, and it is exactly like English. So Python is a very high programming language. Without any effort, in the sense what? Effortlessly, we can able to learn Python. Okay, and it does not include much syntax. For that reason, it is very easy to code. Okay, fine. Then what makes Python is important? That is easy to read. When Python does not include much syntax, then it is like English language. Okay, for example, see, if I want to assign some value to x, so here I'm assigning 10 to x. Okay, fine. See, I'm not going to specify any data type here. Okay, so it is going to take the data type during the execution. Okay, it is going to consider this x holds the value 10. So 10 comes under integer data type. See, it exactly looks like English. So Python code looks like simple English words. There is no use of semicolon or bracket. See here, I'm not going to write semicolon, but if I consider C, C++, Java, .NET, I'm going to use Python. Even I'm going to use brackets, but here I'm not going to use any bracket or any semicolon. Okay, free and open source. So free in the sense what? There is no need of paying money. Open source in the sense what? Without paying money, you can able to use this software. Okay, fine. So Python is developed under an open system interconnection approved open source license. So it is freely available to all community of user. So it is free software. Anyone can able to download, install and use. So it is freely available open source license. So you does not require any license. Hence it is completely free to use even for commercial purpose. So all community of user can able to use Python. It does not cost anything to download Python. So to download the Python software, no need to pay the amount. At the same time, installation procedure is also very easy. So dear student, here you have to think or you have to remember two things. One is I can able to run Python using IDE. So that is integrated development environment. Another one by using scripting. So by using system scripting, I can able to write Python program and it is left to the user which one they have to use. Okay, so if I consider another feature, robust standard library. Python has an extensive standard library available for anyone to use. This means that programmer do not have to write their own code for every single things. Okay, fine. So dear student, here Python provides robust standard library. If I want to write programming language, I does not include anything here. For example, if I consider C program and if I want to include printf statement, what I want to do? I want to include the header file. If I want to use mathematical library function, then what I want to do? I want to include math.h header file. And if I want to perform any string related functions, then what I want to do? I want to include string.h. But in Python, I does not include anything. There are libraries for image manipulation, databases, unit testing, expressions and a lot of other functionality. So everything is inbuilt. So it includes all the libraries. And what kind of libraries? If I want to perform any image manipulation, I have image manipulation library. If I want to connect to the database, I have database connections. And if I want to perform unit testing, I have unit testing. And if I want to include any expressions, I have facilities for that also. In addition to this standard library, there is also a growing collection of thousands of components. So dear student, Python is used to develop web application. So when it is web application, you just imagine how we are going to design the website, how interactively, how fascinatingly we are going to develop the web application. To develop web application, I must have the component. And where I am going to get the component? In my Python. Dear student, if I consider fifth feature, I have interpreted. So what is interpreted? Python is interpreted programming language. So dear student, we are familiar with different kinds of programming language like C, C++, Java, .NET and so on. If I consider C, C is compiled. Okay, fine. If I consider Java, Java is compiled as well as interpreted. But whereas Python comes under interpreted programming language. So when a programming language is interpreted, it means that source code is executed line by line and not at once. So interpreted in the sense what? I'm going to execute one line at a time. In the sense, execute first line, print the output. Then execute second line, print. Execute, print. So I'm going to execute the line one by one. Programming language such as C++ or Java not interpreted. Okay, so if I consider C++, it is compiled. But what about Java? Java is compiled and interpreted. Why it is compiled and interpreted? Because in Java we have the bytecode, right? Okay, for that reason it is interpreted as well as compiled programming language. And Java is interpreted programming language. So here we does not require any compiler. Okay, so there is no need to compile Python because it is processed at runtime during the execution of the program. Okay, we are going to use the interpreter. Okay, fine. Then what is the another feature? That is portable. Portable in the sense what? You can able to carry from one place to another place very easily. But if I consider programming language, I can able to carry the program from one platform to another platform and I can able to run that program very easily. So Python is portable in the sense that the same code can used on different machines. For example, think that I have Mac OS, I have Windows, and I have Linux. So what I will do, I'm going to write Python program in my Windows system. After that, what I will do, I'm going to copy same program and I'll try in my other operating system or in my other platform. So suppose you write a Python code on a Mac. If you want to run on Windows or Linux, you do not have to make any changes. So you can able to carry the program from one platform to another platform and you can able to run the program without making any changes. Now another feature here is Java is object oriented and procedure oriented. So what is object oriented? So dear student, when it is object oriented, you have to remember two things. One is class and object. Okay, in Python I can able to create class as well as I can able to create the object. So dear student, in Python I can able to create class and object. So what is class? Class is nothing but the blueprint. Then what about object? Object is nothing but the instance of the class and it is mainly used to represent real world problems. So a programming language is object oriented if it focus design around data and object rather than function and logic. So dear student, if I focus only about data and object, then it is object-oriented programming language. A programming language is procedural-oriented if it focus more on function. Okay, so here Python is object-oriented as well as procedural-oriented programming language. In the sense what? I'm going to combine both the features here. So I'm going to focus data as well as I'm going to focus object as well as I'm going to focus on functions. Another feature, it is extensible. So what is extensible here? A programming language is said to be extensible if it can be extended to other programming language. If I can able to extend the code to some other programming language, then it is called extensible programming language. So Python can be extended to other programming language. So Python code can also be written in other programming languages like C++. Okay, so Python program can be written in C++. So it is called extensible programming language. What is the another feature here? That is, it is expressive. What is expressive? Python needs to use only a few lines of code to perform complex tasks. If I have any kind of complex problem, that can be represented in very simple way with few lines. For that reason, it is called expressive. So think that I have very complex mathematical problem and that is written and represented with very simple and small code. For example, to display hello world, you simply need to type print hello. Okay, fine. See here, in C program, think that I want to assign the value. Okay, how I'll write? A equal to 10. And I want to specify what kind of data. I'll write int. Okay, fine. Now, if I want to display, what I will do? Right? Printf %d a. Okay, if I write only these two lines, will C program is going to work? No. Then I want to include the flower bracket. Above that, I want to write the main program. Above that, I want to include the header file. See, the length of the program is 6 lines. But if I write same thing in Python, then how I'm going to write? I'm going to write A equal to 10. Okay, fine. Then I'll write print A. See the difference here. How many lines? 2 lines. It is very simple, very easy. Anyone can very easily understand, very easily read. But see the complexity of the C programming. Okay, because of this nature, Python is most commonly used, very famous programming language. Other languages like Java or C would take up multiple lines to execute this. See, to write this code, okay, how many lines I'm going to take? 6. But here it is only 2 lines. Okay, fine. If I consider another feature, support for GUI. So what is GUI? Graphical User Interface. If I want to develop any attractive user-friendly application, then I'll go with the Python. So because of this feature, Python is used to develop web development applications. So one of the key aspects of any programming language is to support graphical user interface. And what kind of graphical user interface it provides? JPython or Tinker, okay, WX Python. So these are the certain toolkit available in my Python. Okay, fine. Now, Python is dynamically typed. So what is the meaning dynamically typed? See here, if I consider other programming language, for example, C. Think that I have the variable x, and if I want to use this variable in my program, what I want to do, I want to declare the variable. So what is the rule? Before going to use the variable in my program, what I want to do? I want to declare the variable. So first declaration, then I am going to use. But if I consider Python programming language, it is dynamically typed. So dear student, in Python, if I want to use the variable, I'll write x equal to 10. So what's the meaning? I'm going to assign 10 to x and it's of type integer. So the interpreter is going to understand that it is of type integer and the value is 10. See the difference in C or other programming language. First I want to declare the variable, then I'm going to use the variable. But here I'm going to declare and use the variable together. Many programming languages need to declare the type of the variable before. See, I'm going to declare the type of variable int a, where in my C program. But in Java, I'll write x equal to 10. So, no need of declaring the type of variable. With Python, the type of the variable can be decided during runtime. Okay, so the type of the variable is decided when? During the execution of the program. This makes Python a dynamically typed programming language. Okay, so in C, how I'll write? Float pi equal to 3.14. Okay, fine. Now, in Python, how I'll write? Pi equal to 3.14. So here I'm going to tell which kind of data at the beginning only. But here it is understood by the interpreter during the execution of the program. Now it is understood by the interpreter that x equal to 20. Fine. Now Python is high level language. Python is high level programming language because programmers do not need to remember the system architecture. So dear student, see here, in high-level programming language, while writing the code, developers do not bother about the architecture or system architecture, nor do they have to manage the memory. So here, developers or programmers are not going to bother about the architecture as well as memory. So here high-level programming languages are user-friendly and programmer-friendly programming language. And the last feature here is simplify complex software development. By using Python, we can able to simplify the complex software development. For example, if I want to develop any mathematical related application, what I will do? I'm going to use Python. If I want to manage data science related applications or deep learning or neural network related application or artificial intelligence application, which programming language I'm going to use? That is Python, because of its simplicity and easy to use. Python can be used to develop both desktop and web application as well as complex scientific and numerical application. So by using Python, I can able to develop desktop application, or I can able to develop web application, even mathematical application and scientific application. Python can also used in the fields like data analysis, in the fields like data science. So data analysis features help you to create custom big data solution. So what is the problem? of our society, that is big data. The size of the data is very massive, and to handle these kind of data we required special tool, and where we are going to get the tool in our Python. To manage the data effectively, we are going to use Python, and most of the data scientists, they are going to use Python as their programming language. And it's also used in the fields like data visualization. See, when I have massive data in terms of zottabyte, in terms of yottabyte, and if I represent that one in the form of text, is it possible to understand? No. If I represent that data and that information in the form of visual, in the form of graphs, then it is very easy to understand. Okay, you can also use the Python data visualization library and application program interface to present data in more appealing way. Several advanced system developers use Python. Okay, so Python can be used to develop standalone applications as well as desktop application as well as web application. Java is simple programming language, object-oriented, procedural-oriented programming language. Because of these features, Java is most commonly used programming language in the field of science, in the field of maths, in the field of artificial intelligence, in the field of data science, in the field of big data, in the field of neural network, in the field of deep learning, in the field of data visualization. Okay, so these are the certain advantages as well as features of Python programming language. Okay, fine. Dear student, in my today's session, I started with what is Python and why Python is most famous programming language. What feature makes Python most famous language. But in my next session, I'm going to deal with the basics of Python. In the sense what? If I want to write Python program, then what are the things I must learn? Okay, so that is all about basics of Python. Anyway, dear student, let's meet in the next session with the new chapter, basics of Python. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.